Hey everyone, this is Freckle Panda here with a ride on Electric X Premium. This is just a good old-fashioned suburban ride right here in Aurora, Colorado. This area is near the Southlands Mall area, not too far from Parker. Um, I would say if you know anything about the Denver, Colorado area and the smaller cities that surround Denver proper. This was a beautiful winter day here. This is late winter, so early March, late February, I believe so, on this bike. Now, this is Lectric X Premium. This is one that can go up to 100 miles of range. 100 miles of range would more than likely be on level 1 or 2. And they probably tested it with, if I remember right, a 165-pound rider. Could be a 180-pound rider, but I think it's 165. Regardless, you should not have really too much range anxiety with this bike. Where this bike definitely is a benefit or has its strengths is one, going up hills. Um, Two is when you're in areas where you can actually stretch your legs. That's when it does its best. So if you're in a city, sometimes this bike can be really irritating when you're in actual a city. So if I was downtown Denver, this bike is a little more irritating. Don't let people tell you, oh no, it's not. No, compared to a hub bike, when you have to go through all the gears, when you get to a stop sign or stoplight, you have to drop all the way down to your mostly your lowest gears, and then you have to start all over again. This bike can be kind of irritating. So don't let people say, "Oh no, I don't notice a difference." If you've had a hub-driven bike, you know what I'm talking about. And you have to go through the gears. Or here's worse: your feet slip off of the pedals because you're trying to pick up speed on it. Oh, no one ever talks about how slippery the actual pedals are that come with the Electric X Premium. That's besides the point. Now, like I said, where this 80 some pound bike actually has a really good benefits is the hills and going when you can stretch your legs out. That's where you don't always have to stop at a stop sign. You don't have to continually stop everywhere and go back through the gears and stuff. That's when it's irritating. But when you don't have to do this, it's a great bike to ride. So this is a great bike to ride in the suburbs and like where I'm riding right now, where I can just cruise. That's what we'll call this bike. It's just a cruising bike. That's what makes it really great, and that's what I really enjoy about this bike. This is not my city bike. This is not the bike. And I've actually tested this bike in other cities. As you've seen in some of my older videos, I've ridden this bike in Portland. I've ridden this bike in Seattle. I've ridden it through the Pacific Northwest in different parts, and I've recorded some of it. This bike is not built for downtown cities to be and to hop on and go and be able to fly through lights, stop signs, be at stop signs and then take off. I've done that before where I've tried to take off and my feet have slipped off. I've missed gears, all this stuff. And some I usually just erase them because they don't know what they're talking about. Half the time is that your feet slip off. You got to be careful with that. And you scratch the back of your leg. Remember we all did that as kids. But this ain't a bike that can take off really fast from a stoplight. It's just not that buying. Now, like I said, like this writing. Now, this is where it's perfect. If you were out in the country, it's perfect. Basically, anywhere where you're just not stop and go, stop and go, stop and go. That's where it becomes a problem. Going from first gear all the way to the top gear, going from top gear all the way to the bottom. Trying to get up to speed, all that stuff, and you have to continually do it. Say if you were in downtown Seattle, that this bike would suck downtown, and hence why you didn't see too many of them in Seattle and you didn't see that many of them in Portland. What you did see was a lot of rad power hub motor bikes, and I did see a few electric XPs here and there, and other bikes too, by the way. So, but this right here, this is where I love this bike. Is this, especially if you got a good, comfortable seat. If you got a good, comfortable seat, um, you can ride this for days, like this. And this is what I enjoy this bike for. Now when I do go to cities, I've learned because I took it with me the last time, and I don't blame electric XP. I don't blame electric for my experience. So my experience with this bike, so electric the company, they built this bike for a certain population of certain people that will actually use this bike for what it's for. Now, I knew better. So when I took it on my trips to the Pacific Northwest, I knew, okay, this bike is heavy. It's not very fast. It's clunky. So I knew this already, but I kept telling myself it's got 100 miles of range. It's got this and that. I never rode 100 miles on an e-bike. So it wasn't no big deal. It was no, even when I rode the old Lectric XP 1.0, I never really worried about range anywhere I went. was just fun to ride for me in the cities, how I ride it in the cities. Now, taking this bike and riding in a smaller town or somewhere with a main street where you can cruise around, excellent bike. Someone who has an RV, excellent bike. Ride around the camp, excellent bike. Um, but in a city where there's stop and go traffic, you might need to get up to speed a little bit quicker. Not an excellent bike. And it's just clunky and heavy. And I really got tired of taking it out of the car in the cities just because of how it was 80 some pounds. You try not to get dirty because you're actually in the city. You're not out like riding in the country or something like that, or at a base camp or, at your campsite or anything like that. But this right here, what I'm doing right here, this is what this bike is made for. This is an excellent bike for this. I really do firmly believe this. I never mentioned the brakes. This bike does have the hydraulic brakes on this bike are really great. No squeaking, no problems. I haven't adjusted them since I've had the bike, so it's actually been really good. No issues with them. They're excellent, excellent. The best brakes I've had on a e-bike yet. Now, with that being said, like I said, it's a beautiful day. It was a great day to cruise on this bike. Only real complaint I say I would have with it, I don't care about it. So I don't necessarily care about it being a mid drive. Once I rode this bike the very initial time and I realized what this bike was actually for, this, my experience after that's not a big deal. Yes, it's not a city bike. Yes, it's not a stop and go bike. It's not that bike. It's not that guy. No matter what people tell you, it's not that guy. But what it is, it's an excellent cruiser. My only real pet peeve with it, which I think would help it in regards to being a city bike, but it also has to do with it being a mid drive and it could snap the chain or something like that, is that the throttle could be a little stronger. I wish the throttle was had a little bit more get up and go on it. That's my only real issue. I don't care about going through the gears. If the throttle was better, I would take it on more trips. But with the throttle being kind of wimpy on this bike, it will not go with me on city trips. Now, we're going camping, it's going with me camping. This bike is excellent for camping and like riding around on dirt trails. I'm not talking about jumping and stuff, but like dirt trails around basic campsites and stuff and dirt roads. Excellent bike, guys. Excellent bike for that. The fat tires, the shocks, it does really good with that. You won't lose control of it. It's a really great bike for all that. So if you want a bike like that, a cruising bike, especially if you're like an RVer and you're not necessarily in downtown like big cities all the time, this is probably a great bike for you, especially to ride around the campsite. Or you like going to little bitty towns, you want to ride around in a small town and stuff like that with just a main street and stuff like that, not a bunch of actual stoplights and stop signs and people honking their horns and you're trying to survive, you're trying to get up to speed and get up with everybody or get around everybody so you don't get hit by a car. That's not this what this bike is for. But in a small town with just a main street, you can go to like some cool shops, all that stuff, go to the grocery store, real simple. Excellent bike. This is an RV bike, I would say, for people. But like I've said in other videos, just be careful depending on your age, your mobility, your physical. This is not a lightweight bike. You can still take all the batteries out of it, but the more times you take the batteries out of this bike or any e-bike all the time, the more chances you have of dropping them, the more chance you have of damaging them, damaging how they connect, all that stuff. So it's just stuff to be mindful of. So like this right here, see this long road right here I'm going on, right? This is what it's made for. This is where you get up to speed, you go through all the gears. It's a loving it. I love this bike doing this like this right here. But anyway, be mindful of the weight issue with it, so you're not throwing your back out, stuff like that. But beyond that, hey, go get this bike. If you like mid drives, you like going through the gears, you get this bike. Just for the price and everything like that. You like hub drives with a little more powerful throttle and gets up to speed. And you don't have to jump through the gears all the time. You don't even have to change the gears if you don't want to. You just pedal and go. Get a hub motor bike. Yeah, get the Lectric X. If you still want to stay with the Lectric family, get the Lectric XP 3.0 long range. I like that cargo bike too. It just don't fold though. So unless I get a truck, I won't be able to get it. I just don't want to have the hassle. But that 3.0 or the light, get it, put some comfy seats, you'll be good to go. Either way, do your homework. You'll be good to go. Anyway, this is Frugal Panda. Thanks for watching, everybody. Like I said, not a bad bike. The brakes on this bike are some of the best I've had. So I never hardly ever mention the brakes. They're great. The pedals on this bike are some of the worst I've had. Your feet slip off them all the time. So be mindful of that with these. You might need to change them out. Anyway, thanks for watching me. This is my cruise in 2023 on an Lectric X Premium dual battery e-bike in Aurora, Colorado. Um, hey, this is Frugal Panda, and Frugal Panda is out. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a good day, and get out there and do some exploring on your bike, your feet, your car, whatever you got. Have a great day, everyone.